Welcome to Feminist Frequency Radio. This is the show that asks you to be critical of the media you love. We're back on the main feed again after last week's mid-season bonus episode, which you can listen to exclusively on Patreon. I'm Kat Spada.
And I'm AC Lamberty, and hello, gorgeous.
Today we're talking about Funny Girl, the 1968 movie adapted from the Broadway musical of the same name. Directed by William Wyler and written by Isabel Lenart, the musical tells the story of early 20th century comedian and singer Fanny Brice. Barbra Streisand stars in her screen debut, although she had starred in the role on stage, and by this time had already become a Grammy-winning singer. This was the first film of producer Ray Stark, who was married to Brice's daughter. Omar Sharif co-stars as Nicky Arnstein.
Hello, gorgeous.
Who is the pip with
Columbia Pictures is proud to present Barbra Streisand.
Yeah?
You're going to be a big star someday, Miss...
Bryce, Fanny Brice.
I'd rather be
In her Academy Award-winning film debut.
The whole world will look at me and be stunned. You mean I'm hired? I'm a Ziegfeld girl.
That's exactly what you are.
I'm a Ziegfeld girl. You planning to make advances?
to put a beautiful wedding gown on a girl that's in the family way. Who would think of such a thing?
Only one person I know.
I can make 'em cry!
Wait a minute.
No, it's all right. I'm one of the 8 beautiful girls, 8. Well, the makeup helps a lot.
Get ready for me.
Barbra Streisand. Funny Girl.
Just before World War I, Fanny Brice is a Jewish teenager who dreams of stardom. Despite not fitting in among the ranks of vaudeville dancing girls, she impresses producers with her powerful singing and undeniable comedy chops. As she lands a starring role with the Ziegfeld Follies and her fame grows, she engages in an ongoing flirtation with the debonair gambler Nicky Arnstein. Their relationship is strained by Nicky's struggles and Fanny's successes, with musical numbers that have influenced countless performances ever since. Hello, Season 1 of Glee.
Yeah, and what a movie. What a movie.
What a picture.
I feel like when we were talking about this season, we were like, we've got to do a Barbra.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad to have finally seen this.
I'm very stoked it was your first viewing. And I got to say, this was like, I've seen this movie a bunch. My mom was a huge fan and is in general like the person who got me into movie musicals. So I watched it as a kid, but I watched it like literally last night and was like, oh, I'm actually understanding all of the labor, politics, gender, like all of it. Like I actually understood the story in such a different way and I loved it.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, I kind of want to ask, like, you know, we will talk about her like personal side a little bit later, but like, what is your relationship to Barbra Streisand question? I feel like is kind of important because this was an experience for me of watching this and being like, I honestly kind of didn't know her game.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
She was a bit of a figure, like, where I was like, you know, Barbra
Happy birthday,
Streisand.
Criterion Channel.
Yeah, I was like, she's the one with the mall in the basement who cloned the dog. You know,
Yes,
like
exactly.
I had seen her in things, but like, to be honest, I think I really did think of her predominantly in those like later stage roles where she's in your Meet the Fockers sequel and she's,
that movie with Seth Rogen where they're a frazzled family.
A little bit of, like, just kind of punchline Barbra Streisand. Like, not that I thought she was talentless. I just was like, okay, you know.
Well, it's kind of, now that you're saying this, it's a little bit like Liza Cabaret.
Yeah.
Kind of. I feel like right now to a whole group of people, she is the Arrested Development lady, you know? Yes.
And like after the passing of Robert Redford, I was like, oh, I should finally watch The Way We Were. Like, I haven't seen a lot of these movies that she was in the 70s.
And especially as a director, too.
Yeah.
Like, I remember her when I worked at the DGA, which was my first kind of Hollywood job, like, she was always the figurehead of, like, trailblazing woman director. And I had no idea that she actually had so many credits for that.
Yeah. This was a very, I mean, this character and how much of that Fanny Brice being interested, I don't know, I don't want to use the word bossy because I don't think that's the word I'm really looking for, but just like a little bit uncompromising maybe in like how her performance will be, seems like very much how Barbra is and has been ever since she started.
Totally.
Which is like, how did that happen? Are the two women really like that, or was just Barbara like that? And so they put it in the movie.
Man, it's so, there's like, I can't say enough about her performance. It's crazy, but like to your point, the alchemy of her performance, where we see, this is kind of like a structural and performance thing, but I was noticing on this watch, like there's not a ton of connective tissue in this movie in the way that there are with other screen musicals, which I mean like we don't see the leaps in time, like it spans a decade or more, and we don't see these leaps of time except through her performance and like context you get from dialogue. But she changes so much from like young Fanny that we see in the beginning to older Fanny giving that ballad at the end, but in such a subtle physical, like it's like magic to watch. I don't know. She is amazing. She's so captivating.
And she changes in the way she carries herself with this man.
Yes.
It snuck up on me a little bit, where there's this scene, which we'll get to when we get more into the plot, that I was like, oh, that's been a whole through line in their interactions. And now I'm seeing it like come to fruition.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I feel like that is just making me think about this as a screen musical in general. And like, I think 60s, 70s are my favorite era of that. But this kind of felt different from the musicals of the era that I really like. Like I was thinking Hello Dolly too, which is another Barbra vehicle, which was in, I think, mid to late 70s, or 60s maybe. But that is so like bombastic, really like stage right to the screen. Whereas this is like kind of a way more of a like intimate drama and has so much like interpersonal politics that I totally forgot about. And it's just like different from a screen musical that I expected, but I love it so much.
Yeah, I was thinking, when we watched Guys and Dolls, which was like, we joked about how they spent $5 on the set of that movie.
Yes.
And like, this was making me think of West Side Story and how West Side Story is certainly a richer like tapestry than Guys and Dolls, but even still, you feel very much like they slapped this wall up and put these people in front of it. And here I know we're on a backlot, but I felt like there was a texture to who she was, where she came from, who she was surrounded by, and like then you are seeing that in the plot development.
Totally.
When she's just a girl on the outskirts versus like everyone is kind of gathering around her.
Yeah.
And they put dollars into that.
Totally. Well, there are some moments where they're like on location, like the Don't Rain on My Parade boat moment, which like one of like 3 to 4 moments that just like made me burst into tears. like those kind of rich, sumptuous settings really take it from kind of just plopped onto the screen to like, oh, they really thought about this as a format, which was like, I don't know, just really touching in some way. Like the music felt so perfectly slotted in. It was informative. It didn't feel out of place or like randomly slapped in. Like it was really so considered in its pacing and format.
I'm about to get like way more philosophical than I actually like have the capacity to. But like I am thinking about like the memetic quality of this movie, like, and the characters, and like there's so much wrapped in other people and other references. And so I personally did find the music like slightly jarring in the sense that like I feel like I'm listening to music from the 1960s because I am, and this is then set in the 19-teens and 20s. And so there is a bit of a disconnect where I'm like, okay, but was that what her stage patter was like?
Right, like
I don't know
her
Fanny
comedy
Brice.
style in general too, which like part of me is like if we just saw kind of early 1900s act adapted for the screen, we would be bored as fuck and feel like this is actively not funny. But
there is a moment. We've talked maybe about Gypsy.
Yeah. Oh, I love Gypsy.
Where she's going on after some like low rent comic at the burlesque house. And his act is literally like spanking a topless woman and then going, "What the hey?" to the audience. Like that's the joke.
This is like what we're returning to, by the way, in Trump's America.
That's Nate Bargatze, except without the spanking. But I do think, yeah, if we listen to an old wax cylinder of like a comedy bit from the teens, we would be like, okay.
Flop.
But I feel like I could be forgiven for not even really knowing the context. Like,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
That this was set in, or who Fanny Brice is. Like, it's very
It works
unrelated.
just as well as if Fanny Brice were like a Lydia Tarr. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, fake person. Like,
Definitely.
she's just so her, even though I don't know who she is. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's like such a vehicle for Barbra.
But then, like, okay, so this is where I feel like it's so knotted up. And, like, knowing what is of a certain era, I think, is really challenging because we have references to times before us that we're referencing times before that.
Right.
And, okay, so one of her mom's friends is played by Mae Questrell, who is the voice of Betty Boop and Olive Oyl.
Oh, my God.
In the original
That
cartoons.
makes so much sense thinking about this woman.
You can picture her, right? You can hear her voice. Literally, as soon as she came on screen, I thought, we could see Boop. I was like, that's Betty Boop as hell. And I looked it up, and it definitely was Betty Boop.
That's
so then
amazing.
I'm reading about Mae Questrell. Her voice for Betty Boop and her voice for Olive Oyl, which they are similar voices, but they are both impersonations of screen actresses that were popular at the time.
This shit goes all the way to the top.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
So then I'm watching this movie and I was like, well, A Star is Born is from before this.
Yes.
Right? But
Couldn't
there are
help but think of
so
that
many
the whole
similarities.
Time. Yeah.
And A Star is Born itself is based on something else that's based on something else. Like before they just
Barbra
decided
goes
to
on
call
star
it
in...
A Star is Born.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was really interesting to me. And it I suppose it's just that the story of fame is an ever lasting story, and
we're
how
all telling the same stories over and over again, basically.
And insecure men dealing with successful women is also a tale as old as time.
Truly, I was like, wow, the A Star is Born, it just is kind of that, but without the alcoholism. But there is a version in which that exists in it too. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't know.
Well, it's not alcoholism, but it's like degenerate gambling.
Yeah, totally.
Like at the end when she's doing that number, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, Allie.
Yeah, I also, when the showgirl, the Ziegfeld Follies, when she gets her first gig, kind of takes her aside and gives her a piece of advice, and that's like her only interaction with a woman for most of the movie. I was like, oh, that's Gail from A Star is Born. Are you Allie? Let's get you backstage.
I love Gail. But wait, so you talked about bursting into tears at the helicopter
you want to know my 3
shot.
moments?
Yes, please.
Okay. Number 1, I'm the greatest star. Just that whole number. I am incapable of watching it or like even talking about it without like blubbering. It is so beautiful to me. It's like everything I want from a movie, everything I want from a performance. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. There's just like such an earnestness that comes from it that I really respond to. And then 2 is the boat moment at the end of Don't Rain on My Parade, which was really interesting to watch this time around because her performance is incredible, and I really did notice the like kind of queasiness or trepidation or like naivete in her face, and like feeling like this might be a grave mistake but doing it anyway. Like I love that element of it this time around. And then my 3rd is just the funny girls song. The titular song is like, oh, fuck. Like, I was really, this is so dumb, but like, the gender stuff is so wild and like, it's like so well rendered and written and performed. And I was really interested to read more about the screenwriter too, doing some research. And yeah, man. And William Wyler being like a filmmaker who makes movies about women, like very, very interesting, all of it gender-wise.
Okay, let's talk about that because I was startled to discover that this was a William Wyler movie. He is one of my favorites. The Best Years of Our Lives is one of my favorite movies. Roman Holiday is one of my favorite movies. And when we talked about the Children's Hour, I remember how we were like, this guy is the Ethan Cohen of his time. Which one? Ethan Cohen? Because
where's your lesbian partner?
He had this like fixation on like, I am going to tell this lesbian story. And I'm going to tell it pre-code and post-code because now I can get away with it. But like, I loved this quote I read where Streisand had never heard of William Wyler. And they were like, yeah, he's like really good. He won the Best Director Oscar for Ben-Hur. And she said, chariots. How is he with people? Like women? Is he any good with actresses? They had to be like, yeah, he's really good with actresses.
Yeah, some might say. Yeah, I think it's such a... I was very like imagining the worlds in which... So the other directors that were circling the project were Mike Nichols, Gene Kelly, and Sidney Lumet. And I was like, oh my God, like there is a world in which any number of those are fucking amazing. I feel like Gene Kelly's would be actively pretty sexist, actually.
Oh, Gene Kelly's would be about Arnstein.
For sure.
Big time. And it would be incredible.
Yes. But I think William Wyler was like the perfect choice. Like there's just such a commercial... like women's picture quality to it too that like works so well and is so thoughtful in like this context, I think.
I have to say, and there was a weird going into something when you have like that sort of cultural osmosis awareness of it, but really don't know enough. There were a couple of like bittersweet moments I had watching this. Like Don't Rain on My Parade gets started and I was like, ooh, I'm excited for this. Here we go. I didn't know the context of the song.
Yeah.
And so watching the movie and seeing that it was about leaving for this man, it's not like I was disappointed, like, career only girl. Like, it wasn't that. It was just this moment of like, oh, I don't think this is smart.
It's not going to be what you think it is. Like,
it's not like there's a heartbreak now in this. And I guess I always thought Mr. Arnstein was like a producer. I thought having heard the song that it was going to be like, come on, here I come, Broadway. Like I thought that's what the song was. And instead it was like, here I come, fornicating premaritally on a boat.
Being in a family way, which they say a couple times. But yeah, there's this moment where leading up to that song, she says to, I think it's like the producer or whatever kind of handler is with them on this Ziegfeld Follies tour. She's like, I want a personal life and I'm going to have it. And there, I really found the exploration of like labor and gender really pretty nuanced because she does keep working. Once you see her get married, she's like kind of covertly funding things to keep her husband busy. And like, she's the breadwinner and takes gigs as she needs. But yeah, it was not a cut and dry, like, don't worry, darling ass. Like, women are in the home, men are not thing. It was really quite interesting.
Well, and this is a movie that is about women. Like the male characters are fairly interchangeable with each other. Like Ziegfeld has the name recognition, and then when she's like Nicky Arnstein, like he is this. He's this cutout of. He's like
it's like fan fiction, you know. Him showing up to her dressing room after her first performance and being like, "You're a star, baby." Like, he has a mythic quality for sure,
right? And like any sort of teenage girl who might dream of romance might be like, he's going to buy me lobster and he's going to be so suave and handsome. And like, that's it. But then there's all these, like the mother talking about.
Oh, she is amazing. I learned she was nominated for an Oscar for this and I was like, well deserved. She's so good.
And that seems like when it's had revivals, like that role has been the like kind of a coveted role of Jane Lynch was in that role briefly.
Was she really?
Oh my God.
In the Beanie Feldstein version?
She was a Beanie Feldstein. The one that was like supposed to run longer. And then at like 2 weeks in, they were like, maybe not.
Ooh.
And Jane Lynch left even sooner than Beanie did. And her understudy did it until the show like got revitalized with Leah Michelle.
Whoa, but that's crazy.
But the mom says like, you know, he kind of reminds me of her father and he was so lovely and I hope he stays wherever the hell he is.
Yeah, man, it is red flag central. Like, it's so interesting seeing literally just all of the horrible things that Nicky Arnstein plants along the way that completely come to fruition. But in like in a non-melodramatic, even confrontational way, which is like heartbreaking in its own way as well, you know?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is how he never fights for her.
Yeah.
Like, he shows... I also, like, saw this, like, slippage happening where the first time that the butler on the ship is like, okay, Mr. Brice.
Yes. And they
both laugh.
Yeah.
Haha. And then it's like, it just deteriorates. But he is almost, like, a little passive and everything, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what ultimately disappoints her.
Totally. I do want to talk about the musical number where they are like ostensibly going to have sex for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like really delighted by this. So it's one of the only numbers that Omar Sharif as Nick Arnstein has. And I think he only has like a verse in it. He's not a singer, but basically he invites Fanny to a private dinner. They are having a flirtation. Fanny is like doing her, oh, I'm so ugly. Why would you be interested in me? Is this going to be the night I fuck this man? Whatever. And I just found the song so delightful and like really gave her agency. And I'm curious about your thoughts on that and like the gender of it all.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a good line. He orders all this French food over the phone or whatever. I guess not the phone, but like whatever. He orders all this French food and she goes to come up to the room and she's like, I would have just ordered meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
And he's like, that is what I ordered. She goes, oh, if I don't even know when you're ordering meat and potatoes, how will I know when you're making a move?
Yeah.
He's like, you'll know. And then it's this like, yeah, I feel like it's not the cat and mouse. That's the thing. Like, I was genuinely, even in the 60s, how were they? Okay, so in 1968, I feel like this is even less shocking than in 1964 when the show premieres on stage.
Yeah.
But there is this element, like these are people who are seeing someone, their grandparents' age in timeline, right? Like, oh, my grandparents grew up in this era. Or anyway, maybe I'm a little confused, but just seeing that she was wanting marriage. She was wanting the security of that. And also, I think, wanting the intimacy of that. But she was not really going to resist. Like, this wasn't going to be the cat and mouse game that totally. I feel like they usually show this as being. Like, it really felt like, no, she's wanted him since moment one. Yeah. And she's touched him a lot. And she's, like, shown here, like, I know this is happening. And that's kind of why I came here tonight. Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah, I just found it very refreshing in that way. And I think it just speaks to her performance in general. Like, it's so clear from the first musical number that, like, she is someone who gets what she wants. And, like, that even to her, it might not look like what she thinks it is, like, she wants. But she does go after things, like, so wholeheartedly and so aggressively in her way. Which I find so charming and, like, effective. I don't know.
Can we talk about the beauty politics of this?
Yes, please. Because I literally wrote a note for myself that's like, I understand that we need to keep insisting that she's ugly for the plot or whatever, but it's crazy. Like, I look at her and I'm like, you're the most beautiful person alive. Like, she's so, I think I said it, like, captivating is just all I kept thinking, you know?
This is where, like, this movie had me by the first scene. When she walks in and we only see her from behind for a while and we're mostly seeing the theater. And then the very first angle on that profile of hers, when she's got like the coat up. And by the way, there's a credit for the farrier. It's like furs by.
I love that shit about old musicals. Oh my God, it's the best.
She's got the hat, this like bell-shaped hat, and then this collar up, and I was like, William Wyler knew what the fuck he was doing. He just cuts
he knows how to light a
her.
Star, baby. Like, all the lighting on her is always like perfect, soft spotlight. Ugh, it's amazing.
When she says, I'm a Ziegfeld girl, I wrote, I'm in love.
Yes.
Like, I have a crush. I'm watching this, and I'm like, she is so sexy, and she's so gorgeous looking. But then there's this whole like, and I know that this was the conversation, like, I'm not being a Pollyanna about it. I know that, like, at the time, for sure, people would be like, Barbra Streisand, you're too looking. Jewish to be in Hollywood, and like, you have to get a nose job. Like, that is still a conversation. I get it. But in this story, it's very much like, I know, I could never be on stage. And I'm like, I I cannot look away from you.
Totally.
And there's gorgeous women next to her, like the woman from that classic horror movie, like sci-fi movie, is there. The one with the like beauty mark on her lip. She's like one of the old classic beauties. She's there and she's so like statuesque and gorgeous. And I was like, this is supposed to show us how like little and ethnic Barbra is. And I'm like, they're both stunning. I can't.
Totally. Yeah, it's very... So I think the biggest musical numbers we get are when she's performing with the Follies. So like that first Bride number, her debut is like huge stage production, feathers, moving stage elements, like chorus of like 50 people, and all of the women look so like beautiful 60s thin. It's like really, they look like, it's like Stepford Wives, you know what I mean? It's really like the casting is spot on. And it's just like such a completely different kind of beauty, but I'm still like, you can't take your fucking eyes off Barbra. But this all to the point that there is a line in the very opening scene where she's auditioning for this kind of local theater production to be a chorus girl, and then does I'm the Greatest Star, and somebody's listening to her and is like, oh my God, you're actually amazing. He says, you're no chorus girl, you're a singer and a comic. And like the word comic, I was like, oh, that's like, I don't know. It was very interesting to track that over the movie. Whereas like in the beginning, it seemed like the identity of comedian was like, that's how she makes her bank. Like that's what is amazing about her and special about her. But then I think it really becomes the chip on her shoulder throughout the whole thing, and really does underscore her desire to be beautiful and be loved for that, and like feel like she has not achieved that. It's just like a really devastating kind of central character moment, you know? Yeah.
So in this bridal number, I had a lot of thoughts. I love the way that these old musicals used to have the little fashion magazine.
Yes, like editorial moments.
Yeah, where it's like Singing in the Rain has that, where they're all like posing.
Yes.
And like the actresses are like wobbly because they've been doing it for so long. And it's like going through all the different outfits you could wear. And I feel like I read once that this was because audiences were like seeing new fashions on screen.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily going to the department store and seeing them on mannequins.
Oh,
they could see them in the movies. Or like in advertisements, it would be, etchings that were not going to really relay how beautiful the clothing was. And so they're doing this whole like
showcasing
spring bride, an autumn bride, like all these beauties. And no modern musical goes as hard in these types of scenes.
Yes.
They've lost that like, love and feeling.
It is so edgy. Like, it doesn't feel like it when you're watching it now, but it is like, damn, they're fucking going for it. They're like, it's so funny, and it still works. So basically, Fanny emerges as a bride, and she's supposed to be singing this song about how she's so beautiful, like really earnest, kind of corny ass song. Yeah. And she at rehearsal is like, I can't do that. That would be like, I can't tell the audience I'm beautiful. They'll laugh at me, which is deeply sad to me. Like, it like really hit me this time. I don't know. But then when she performs, she has stuffed a pillow under her dress and is doing a whole bit where she is married or pregnant out of wedlock. And that's the bit. And it fucking kills. It kills.
I was completely surprised by it. I was laughing so hard. But also, like, the way that you'd have these Busby Berkeley style.
Yes.
Dozens of performers, dozens of dancers, perfectly choreographed. And then it's like, I'm in it. I'm just completely swept away by it. And then they hit me with this punchline. I was like, oh shit. Like, this is that truly, I was like, this is one of the great movie musicals I've ever seen.
It is such a banger. And like, to the point of the cinematography and the expensiveness too, like, I think the particular triumph of the Screen musical is being able to take the camera there. Like, we really get to see these up close kind of Fantasia movement moments. And then in her next big Ziegfeld Follies number, where she's doing like a bit on like a parody of Swan Lake, the camera like swings in kind of all that jazz style, like into the chorus. Yeah. And you get this really disorienting feeling. And it really does, to me, speak to like a completely different part of her career. It's super interesting.
It's a very strong directorial choice. It's like this crane shot, and previously in the movie, we've had the big helicopter shot when she's on the boat.
Yeah.
But then here it's like we're in the theater, and now the theater feels as big to me as the island of Manhattan.
Totally.
And like that we are swooping in and just like really feeling like we're in it. I felt like this is a shift in Hollywood even. Like this is...
Yeah, there was a lot of like new Hollywood feeling stuff to me, which I don't know if that is exactly the right time period, but yeah, definitely experimenting with convention a bit, with camera work, with her little fantasy moments where she sings Nikki's name. Like, all these little flourishes are, I don't know, just things you haven't seen in a screen musical before, but I loved it.
I want to, we'll add this to our watch list for this movie. Footlight Parade is one of the Busby Berkeley movies from the 30s that it's super racist. Just like everyone be ready for that. If you watch Footlight Parade, there is stuff that is really cringe. You will cringe at least many times. But the way that they didn't necessarily even use the camera to its full extent.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is a great example of like in Footlight Parade, it's about vaudeville, it's about a traveling act, and you have all the dancers and you have these huge numbers, and it's so unrealistic how Jimmy Cagney is like, we can stage this tonight. And it's like, no, you couldn't possibly, but then they do it and it's massive. And yet it's shot very much like we're just kind of watching it from the audience.
It's like they're using frame composition more than William Wyler is using like camera movements, you know?
Yeah. And that all, I think, just speaks to like him really understanding this character and putting the actress first, because she is like, when we are swooping in through this Swan Lake, she knows that her husband has not shown up to the premiere of her new show.
Yeah.
Because he fucked up again.
Yeah. And it's like in that performance, she's giving a technically great performance and she's very funny or whatever. But again, her performance is so incredible and layered that the whole time you can sense that she's fucking pissed off. Like she is mad and like uncomfortable and doesn't like, is not in the optimal headspace for performing. And yet still turns it out because that's her fucking job and that's like what she knows how to do. But man, just the layers that contains is incredible.
I think the element that I was really impressed when it sort of dawned on me how it had become a through line for her performance is the poker face.
Oh, yeah.
Because when it starts, it's, again, just a punchline. Like first she's flirting with him or he's flirting with her and she kind of can't keep it totally together. And then she has to watch his card game because whether or not he wins will determine whether or not they're going to get married.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up.
Boy, oh boy, he sucks. Like a lot.
Yeah, he's so,
He sucks.
So then she's sitting there and she's like, like she's so, nervous. But then when it's needed for her to like not reveal what hand he's going to play, she keeps her poker face on and like the other guy in the game is like, okay, I think I can read you, but I can't. And then later on, like in all of her interactions with her husband, I was like, she is performing every single time she's with him. And that it's not in this sense where I'm like, she's subjugating herself. It's like, this is how she navigates him. And when she is pretending to just like flip through a magazine, but she has secretly like given $50,000 to something so that he can have a job that's on the straight and narrow.
Ugh, man.
It's like the perfect, I'm like, she has now mastered this.
Yes.
Yeah,
that turn is really, again, like I have seen this 10 times before, but for some reason this was the first time that scene clicked for me. And I just love that there's no screaming, kicking, fighting, dramatic ass 60s movie scene. It's so them. Like neither of them are going to give it up first. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, really nails that. And then we segue into her final ballad, A Star Is Born number.
Again, now I don't think, so I was watching this on Prime and it didn't seem like it was the remastered version. They did release a remastered version last year.
Oh, cool.
But there was enough like hiss in the audio or something where I was like, I don't know if this is cleanest copy to watch. But the cinematography, the lighting in that final number, her wearing black velvet, sucking up all the light and completely blending into the black background behind her. So all you can see is her face and her hands and her jewels. Like, know what I mean?
What
I was
more
like,
do you want out of a musical?
Rich. It's just rich. It's
Truly.
so like, and if you're 26-year-old Barbra Streisand and this is your first movie, I bet you're watching that and being like, and?
I fucking did that. Like, that's so...
What more do you need? It's just me.
Man.
Just me. Oh.
It's incredible. She won the Oscar for this. Was that the year where there was a tie?
Yes, the only ever tie in that category.
Who was the other person?
It was, I think, Katharine Hepburn, The Lion in Winter.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I don't usually agree with the Academy, but well deserved. Like, goddamn, such a performance of all time for me.
Yeah. I had this like wild hair. I was like, we should do every A Star is Born. And then I was like, actually, they once did an episode of So You Think You Can Dance where they gave every couple the same dance because they wanted to show like you're really voting for the dancer and not the dance. Yes. And it was absolutely an unwatchable episode of television to hear the same, Kids Bop song 10 times in a row and watch the same choreography. So I don't think we will actually be doing that.
But recommended watching for sure. Have you seen the Barbra version?
I have seen the Judy Garland version.
Okay.
I don't think I have seen the Barbra version. Again, I feel like I haven't seen many Barbra Streisand movies before.
Okay, here's my Barbra filmography. That's like what I know most about. I think Funny Girl, obviously my favorite performance of hers. What's Up, Doc is a close second, but it's just so different. And she is like effervescent and fucking hilarious. I love that movie so much. Yentl, she directed.
I've seen Yentl,
I love Yentl. Mandy Patinkin, hot as shit in this movie. Yeah. It's crazy. I love it. I think it's like a fine movie. I think it's like, I don't know, it's just like corny and sweet in a way. And then I think that's pretty much all and I've seen A Star is Born, which I don't remember very well, but there is a scene where she has like a full fro and is doing a number that's like a little questionable. And that's all I remember. I do love Bradley Cooper's A Star is Born, though.
I very much love Bradley Cooper's A Star is Born. And I mean, Lady Gaga must be obsessed with Barbra.
Yeah, I was like, listen, I don't know if I've talked about this on the pod. Lady Gaga's pissing me off lately. Not a big fan of her current output. But I am like, is she the biggest, like the closest approximation we have to a Barbra type performer? I don't know.
I mean, oddly enough, I think Beyonce, in a strange way, like just think, this is just one thread I'm pulling. So let me not like say that I know how to discuss Beyonce as a full, like topic. But in the Renaissance movie, the way that she is so exacting and is very much like, it pisses me off that people say no. Yeah. Because they will not, there is a yes. There's a yes to the thing I'm asking for, and they don't want to find it. And so like there's a specific thing in that movie where she's looking for a super wide angle lens to be on the action and like be projecting onto the screens. And the guy keeps saying, there isn't one. And she like consistently has to go back to him and be like, you're telling me that a wider angle than such and such millimeters does not exist? And he's like, well, there's one and they use it for this thing. And she's like, that's what I'm asking for. Yeah. Go get it. Like, and I'm saying this not critically of Beyonce. No, totally. Like, I am saying this is just watching someone who is like, I have a vision and I'm trying to get it. And she's not even like, she's not saying she's not going to pay for it. She's not saying I'm going to like fire you. She's saying, get me the thing. Like, totally.
I feel like that definitely extends to Barbra as a directress. Yeah. Too. Like, I feel like everything I've read about the movie she's directed, the only one I have seen that she's directed is Yentl. But in just like clicking through, reading about her, I feel like every single one has like some kind of fraught production thing where it's like financing or distribution or what, like truly just kind of like your classic Hollywood sexism kind of stuff,
Well, she I mentioned that she had won a Grammy before this, and I read a little bit about her like early recording career. So she had been doing nightclub acts. And yeah,
I guess I don't really know how she came up. I assume Broadway, but I guess Funny Girl was her first Broadway thing too.
Yeah, well, I think she had done an act on Broadway, but I don't know that it was, I'm not sure what it was a part of. So she was singing, and she would go do these like gay clubs, and she would do these nightclubs, and then she'd win a contest, and she like asked her boyfriend to record her. And he said, like, when I listened to the tape playback, I couldn't look at her for a while because I thought she could sing. But then when I like listened to the recording, I was like, oh my God, holy shit. Like, wow. So she was like opening for Phyllis Diller. She was like doing these kind of things. And then she did.
She's at the bathhouse with Bette Midler.
Probably. And then she was ending up like on TV. So they'd have her on variety shows or whatever, on talk shows, doing these little stretches. So her first album, which is called the Barbra Streisand album, she took less money so she could have more creative control. And they wanted to call it like Sweet and Sensual Streisand or something.
It's just Sabrina Carpenter, short and sweet.
Yeah. And then she was like, no, I just want people to see me on TV, go to the record store the next day and say, I want the Barbra Streisand album.
Man.
So
she knew.
And then her second one is called the second Barbra Streisand album. And then her third one is just called the third album.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah. It's so incredible.
Like, that's like ballsy in a way.
Ballsy. So she won Album of the Year for that first one. And then this is where, like, again, all this stuff that's in the movie where she's like, Mr. Ziegfeld, Mr. Ziegfeld, Mr. Ziegfeld. No. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. And all the other girls are like, what are you talking about?
You fucking do it or you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'm like, this feels like the Barbra mythology.
Yeah. Totally.
Apparently, Siri originally pronounced her name as Streisand, and she called Tim Cook and made him change it to Streisand. Again, I don't even know if I'm saying this derogatorily. I'm just saying, like, she has this level of, like, Joe Gideon ass.
Yes.
That
exactitude and
huge.
Yes, totally. She's a fascinating character. And true, like you said, the mall in the basement, the cloning the dog, like, such a specific kind of famous person that, again, I don't know if we have that, at least in a public way right now. It's like, famous people know to keep their crazy shit under wraps at this point.
The Streisand effect?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where I'm like, I don't know, Drake? Like, when you get into those things where it's like, if you would just, I don't know. So she's like this, she is this interesting figure. And I'm like, I feel like I'm catching up on Barbra Streisand because she has been like a long time politically, vocally active, especially in support of Israel. And so I was curious. I was like, you know, obviously, what are celebrities talking about in the last 2 years as pertains Israel? And she feel like she has
nothing pretty much since October 23.
She's made some statements, and like she's won some awards for her support of Israel since then.
Sure.
But I feel like her statements have either been very much focused on the hostages in a way that I think
it's like humanitarian appeal kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, like I'm not passing judgment on anyone decrying the state of the hostages, but then it's like, okay, do you have a sense of reality when we're looking at what this crisis is? So this is a quote, a couple of quotes that I found, which are, I feel like a little bit of both sidesing it. I don't know. She says, people are people. It's true. We all want the same thing. We all want love in our hearts. We all want family. We all want to feel secure. I hope for the best because this is heartbreaking what's happening now with these people, the children, the mothers. Doesn't matter what religion they are. This is beyond religion. This is insanity for us not to learn how to live together in peace. I could easily cry about this. Where is God in this time? Where is he or she? And then a couple weeks after that, so this was in October 2023. A couple weeks after that, she did tweet, My heart is broken for all the suffering of innocent civilians in Israel, Palestine, and Ukraine. Terrorism must not triumph. I mean, I feel like literally even mentioning innocent civilians in Palestine is more than a lot of celebrities who have vocally supported Israel will do.
Yeah, but, man, there's some like brutal shit out there. Fuck, whatever. I'm not going to name any insane pro-Zionist celebrities I've been seeing on Instagram. But yeah, I do feel like she also is so fucking wealthy that it is like, I will donate to your Israeli organization, like wipe my hands of it, basically. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'll show up for the gala, the luncheon or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah, there was stuff that I didn't have enough time to like read into about her support of like a previous prime minister of Israel. That
interesting.
Even like Israelis were saying like, please don't support him. He is like involved in like apartheid both here and in South Africa. She was like supporting him. So
sounds good to me. Damn.
Yeah, it's like she is larger than life, but I felt like watching this, whether it's just because it's the dawn of her screen career, you kind of are like, I don't think she could have not been a star.
Oh, totally. And kind of to bring it back to politics, gender, whatever, and her as a filmmaker, like, it seems like she's very much from a time period of mainstream women filmmakers, of which there were very few, that like did not take great pains to like identify with representation politics or identity labels or whatever, just because that is not what you did at the time compared to now, where it's like there is a world in which really strongly positioning yourself as a woman filmmaker or a feminist filmmaker or whatever has an impact to a particular audience. But I think politically, just like in general, that is kind of the vibe I get about her now. Does that make sense? Like politically kind of like, I'm going to do what I do, and I was a trailblazer with that. I don't really think about gender or religion or whatever. I'm just I'm fucking Barbra Streisand, like, period.
Yeah, that's the whole kind of conversation about like, oh, I'm going to be successful regardless of whether or not I'm a woman, instead of like, this is an important part of the conversation.
Right, totally.
I want to kind of maybe wrap up with a mini discussion of just another movie that I am so curious if you've seen, which is Postcards from the Edge.
Yes. I don't remember if I mentioned this last summer, if we did any recording last summer, but I did a little bit of what I called Shirley MacLaine summer, which is watching so many Shirley MacLaine movies. She is everything to me. I love that movie. The like performance of I'm Still Here. Instant tears to me. It like epic gay guy moment. I fucking love her, and I love that movie.
I hadn't seen it until a couple weeks ago,
bro.
And I feel like Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, as portrayed by Meryl Streep and Shirley MacLaine in a movie by Mike Nichols, like, is part of this conversation.
Absolutely.
And watching it, I hadn't watched Funny Girl yet, but we had just watched All That Jazz.
Yep.
And I was thinking about a lot of connections between like art and fame and addiction. It's just like threaded through all of these stories. But there is a scene in Funny Girl when her husband has been arrested and they tell her, just stay in your dressing room. You don't need to go out and face them. And she's like, of course I'm going to face them. And she like smooths her hair and she puts on her coat over her costume. And she goes up and just riffs and vamps with all the journalists. Yeah. And that scene is also in Postcards from the Edge, when she's in the hospital after a drunk driving accident. And she's like, well, time to go see
It's showtime, folks.
It's showtime, folks.
Well, did you read also that Shirley MacLaine was initially who they wanted for the movie version of Funny Girl, for Fanny Brice?
Yeah.
Which is like unthinkable to me. I think obviously she'd be amazing, but like, it's just not, that's a completely different text. Completely.
It seems like they went to all these actresses, and like Carol Burnett, who is interesting because of the comedy and the physicality of her performance, but she was like, you need a Jewish girl for this.
Yeah.
Like, and she would have brought, I think, she's also not as beautiful as Barbra Streisand is in this like way
striking
that completely would change the dynamic of the movie.
Totally. I'm glad it was Barbra ultimately. I mean, what a fucking movie.
If Carol Burnett was being romanced by Omar Sharif in that in that scene, like, She would have been doing it so funny. So
Carol Burnett and then
comic.
Frank Sinatra was the other fucking alt for Nicky Arnstein, which stop putting him in fucking musicals. I mean, he wasn't like, for better or for worse, but like, I can't, like, him and Shirley MacLaine or Carol Burnett, and that, it's just like, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, thank you for selecting this one. I really...
Of course. I'm so glad you loved it.
And that is our show for today.
I am AC Lamberty. You can find me at AC Lamberty on Instagram and Letterboxd.
I'm Kat Spada, and you can find me at katexmachina on Blue Sky and Letterboxd. And be sure to follow Feminist Frequency on all the platforms at femfreq. On Letterboxd, you can find our companion watch list for all the movies we're discussing in our Musical Mayhem season.
And if you're a Patreon subscriber, be sure to stick around for the bonus app. I'm going to be processing caught stealing and my relationship with Austin Butler.
Hold your hand through this. If you like our show, help other people find it by sharing, subscribing, rating, and commenting on your favorite podcast app. Thank you for listening.
Bye.